Hey guys, welcome to another video for our Java playlist. Guys, this is second video for multi-dimensional arrays in Java, and in this video we will be having a practical implementation of the multi-dimensional arrays. So let us have a quick recap of what we had learned in our first video. We had just seen the differences between the single dimensional arrays and the multi-dimensional arrays and the theoretical concepts related to multi-dimensional arrays, like what are these x y here, or 0 comma 0, or number of rows or number of columns. Fine, so these all are the concepts of multi-dimensional arrays, and we had discussed all the things and their explanation in the first part. So if you have not watched that part, then watch that part. The link would be in the description below. So let us open our IntelliJ IDE here and see the practical implementation of these multi-dimensional arrays. So without any further delay, let's get started. So guys, here you can see that I had opened the same exact multidimensional.java file that we had created and modified in our first part. And you can see that we had right here some syntax, and here we have seen an initialization step of this multidimensional array. And you have seen that here there are some rows here, 4 rows. So here I had opened another file that is named as hospital management system in Java. So first we learned how to make variables and how to use them. Fine. After that we got a problem that if we are going to make a lot of variables with same data type, how to do that? We learned the arrays here. Okay, we learned the single dimensional arrays. Here you can see that we had created some arrays with same similar data type, but we have to deal with the same issue that we had seen in the variables. Like if there are similar data types of variables and there are a lot of variables, then it would become difficult for us to make them and declare them and use them and initialize them. So what have we done there? We make an array. So there is the same scenario here, but the difference is that we are making some arrays but with same data type and a lot of arrays. So how to solve them? We will see that how to solve them in this multi-dimensional arrays. All of you should have a clear understanding of what are multi-dimensional arrays, but if you have any questions, then ask me in the comments below. So I'm going to create another file here. So guys, now you can see that I had created practical multi-arrays.java file, and I had also put a main method here. Let me give some spaces here, and let's open the hospital management system.java file. Our main goal right now is to merge these two arrays into a single arrays by the usage of multi-dimensional arrays. Make a string. So we know how to declare and initialize in this way. But what I want to declare this string patient data multi-dimensional array in the same way we have declared this disease array here, and this is a single dimensional array. You can see here that to declare a single dimensional array, what we have to do, we have to put a new keyword and the data type of this variable here. For example, this string variable has data type string, and after that we put a pair of braces, and in between them the number of elements. So let me close these files and tell you what we have to do. To use your new string, and this data type should match with this data type. So after that I am putting a pair of curly braces, sorry, brackets. And if I want that my string patient data multi-dimensional array contains 6 or 4 rows and 5 columns, then we can do like that. Fine. And one more thing here, this first part would declare the rows and the second would declare the columns. So guys, here you can see that I had created a box, and in between these box, let me go to this pencil here, this one here, this one here, this one here, this one here are the rows. Know that already because we had learned that in our previous video. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one are the columns. Fine. What we will be doing, this would be the patient's name. I'm writing here PN. This would be patient's age. I'm writing here PA. This would be patient's duration of treatment. I am writing here PDT, and this one is the patient ID, and I am writing here PID. You can say that we had put it all the five arrays into a single array. Here is the name, here is the age, here is the disease, here is the treatment, and here is the patient's ID. Fine. Let us make a for loop here. And right now our integer would have to go up to 4, and every time we will use here I plus plus. Now let us open the paint to understand how to use this array. So here you can see that the first block would be patient name, patient address, patient disease, patient duration, treatment duration, sorry, and the patient's ID. Fine. So I had make a for loop here that would run, or you can say it would be used get input from the user for the 4 rows. Fine. So I'm writing here south, and in this south statement I would be putting some asterisks just for differentiating the first input and the second input. And here I'm using here south again, and here I would be using here backslash t, and this one here, and enter patient name, like that. Let us create some variables here. First one is the scanner input is equals to new scanner. We will use here the array name, that is patient data right now. And we will use here I. Here I'm writing 0 for the zeroth element is equals to input dot next. I'm copying these two lines here and pasting them here, and here I'm writing enter patient address, and that would be stored in the first slot. Again pasting this line, enter patient disease, and that would be stored in the third slot. Again I'm pasting this, enter patient's treatment duration, that would be stored in the fourth slot. Another one, this slot was reserved for the patient ID, so we are not going to take that from the user. Instead, what we will be doing here, we will make an integer variable. I'm giving it a name PID for patient ID and initialize it from 1. And we will use here 4 for the fifth place, and here would be the PID. So you would go to another error here, and that error would be that the data type of the PID here is integer, and integer cannot be stored into the string. We will use here string dot value of function, and in that function we will provide this integer. And what will this function do? If we go to its documentation by pressing Ctrl Q, you would see that it would give the representation, string representation of the integer argument. So now we will use a for loop here. Again integer I starting from 0, I would go up to 4, and then I plus plus. This is the outer loop, and this is the inner loop. Integer j starting from 0, j would go up to 5, and j plus plus, like that. Okay, before starting this loop I am sorting here patient data is, here I am using sort the array name here patient data, and I am writing here ij, like that. And after this loop we will sort here this asterisk, so that there should be a difference between one row and the other one. But before running it I am decreasing this 4 to 1 only here, and running it. So now you can see that we have to enter the patient name, and I am writing programium. Its address is in Pakistan, and its disease is nothing, nil, and treatment duration is about 2 months. And you can see that here all the data was stored here. Patient data is, you can see that here, for example this one, and all other datas are null, because in strings null means there is nothing present there. So if I change this I to, for example 2 here, it would run 2 times, take 2 times data from me. And this time, for example, if I am using here Ellen and its address is in, for example, USA, and its disease is something chronic malaria, for example, I don't know that exists or not, and enter, you would see that here we got an error here, and we are seeing this error about third or fourth time, and we know how to resolve that. So I'm just running it again, stop and rerun to show you how to resolve that error. There are, for example, the patient name here is again Alan and its address is USA. For diseases, we can use either this kind of notation, and you can see that it would work fine. So its duration is about 3 months, and it's this is the second one because you can see that we got here these asterisks. That means there is an other patients. So the other one would be, for example, I'm going to say Chris, and this person is living in UK, and its disease is just a random typhoid, and its duration is about 1 month. And you would see that here all of the data are being stored in this string here, and this is name of the patient, its address, its disease, treatment duration, and this is the ID. And one more thing I forgot that, and that was incrementing this ID. Fine. So all other things are just null because, as I talked before, that if we provide strings a value, then that value would be shown. But if there is nothing in the string, then null would be shown. And that means the same, there is nothing present in the string. Fine. So here in this code, what we have to do after this one, we will use PID plus is equals to something. We can give it some two or any number, or we can use here a random number generator, then can automatically provide a random number arrays, that we can put a number of arrays of similar data type into one array. Saves our memory also. If you're working with some larger projects, then you also have to keep in mind that your project should have to be optimized both in terms of using memory or memory allocation and also in its efficiency. So enough for this video, guys. We will be meeting in our next video, in which we will be covering some other concepts related to Java. Until that video, if you have not subscribed this channel, then hit the subscribe button, like button, and also share with your friends. Goodbye.